Coming up on this special edition of DFE News, should Christians celebrate Halloween? Annetta Caldwell shares her amazing story of coming out of the occult, her thoughts on that question. Also, Matt and Susan Wilmoth join us to tell us their perspective and their strong stance on the issue. And we get a pastoral point of view from Vicar Craig Wenzlick of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. We've got news for you, those stories and more right now on DFE News. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this special Halloween edition of DFE News, News Done Right. Well, there seems to be as many opinions about Halloween as there are people who celebrate it. Is it harmless children's fun, or does it celebrate something darker? And how should we as Christians view Halloween, and should we observe it at all? Joining us to discuss the topic of Halloween, we have several guests with us. First is Vicar Craig Wenzlick of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. We also have Annetta Caldwell of FTF Ministries, author, dancer, and not least, wife and mother. And finally, our friends Matt and Susan Wilmoth of Almighty Wings Productions. So welcome everyone to this Halloween edition of DFE News. And it's a bit of a hot topic, Halloween. Every year it comes around. We know it's coming. What should we do to prepare? Should we celebrate Halloween at all from a Christian perspective? Let's go ahead and get started with Matt and Susan. Tell us a little bit about what you do for Halloween, if you do anything at all, and a little bit about your background on why you do what you do or don't do.
I did celebrate Halloween. It was one of my favorite holidays for a long time. I loved dressing up and getting in costume until God opened our eyes to the evils behind it. And we kind of took a step back. A few years ago, Susan had a sexual trauma, and we were doing tarot, and she revealed what was supposed to be the devil in my, or what was supposed to be the card in my heart, and it was the devil card. And from that moment, God has just sent us a variety of videos and testimonies and things to work on that has just revealed how much Satan has taken over Hollywood, has taken over different events, and we just the more we learned, we decided to back out of it for the moment.
Yeah. We used to participate in it a lot, dressed up, drank, partied, did all that stuff, and then as we learned about the spiritual battle that's happening, we realized that we did not want to be supporting the side of evil, and that we wanted to be fighting for God and God's side. So we really have taken a step back from Halloween. It's my mom's favorite holiday, so it's really hard sometimes because at her house it is all decked out. So this month is really tough sometimes, but we are actually in the process of trying to figure out how to combat that and sort of step back into Halloween as Christians with a godly perspective, and how we can do so as Christians with strength and not with a heart of fear, but ready for battle.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go over to Annetta now. Same question. What's your background with Halloween, and how do you view Halloween or celebrate it?
Yeah, growing up, we celebrated it a lot. My mom's birthday is actually on Halloween. So she would dress up, as a witch, and we would dress up in all of our costumes. And so I grew up with it being very normal to go and celebrate. Like I said, I got really involved in the occult. So when I had kids, I kind of backed away from it, as far as like we didn't go like trick-or-treating in the neighborhoods and everything. We did dress up and did some stuff with the church, but as I'm seeing how things got darker and darker, I decided, like, okay, we're not going to do the dress up thing anymore. But I've been trying to figure out, it's like, okay, how can we, still bring Jesus into this and not like completely isolate, because then I still wanted to bring a light. So we have gone to like things that have like where they talk about Jesus, and where they have like some of the things that's really innocent, but like just doing the full on, dressing up and going trick-or-treating, we don't do any of that, just because I don't want to participate in it, because there is a lot of dark things that happen on that day too. So I just try to try to protect our family. My kids think I'm a little overprotective, but I know the stuff behind it. So I'm like, let's try to keep us innocent, keep my kids innocent with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, over to Vicar Wenzlick. Do you have a different type of background, and how do you celebrate Halloween, if you do?
We grew up with it, trick or treating. I never liked my outfit, whatever I was dressed up as. I just didn't like it, and I thought everybody did better than me, and so I've never really been a fan of Halloween because I always felt like I was left out. I grew up in a rural area, and my classmates in town, they always come and tell all about the great things that they did, the fun they had. A lot of it was, a little ornery in that, and I felt a little jealous that I wasn't a part of it too. And so, from that standpoint, growing up, it just wasn't one of my favorite holidays. My wife really likes Halloween, and so we participate in our neighborhood. We may dress up, hand out candy, that sort of thing. So we go along with it, and we have a lot of nieces and nephews who, dress up and really enjoy it too. So there's a lot of joy when we do it, and the other stuff doesn't seem to happen.
Mm-hmm. But it definitely seems that at least, I don't know, maybe the last 5 or 10 years, Halloween has really exploded into more and more of a commercial type of event. Maybe not a holiday, but almost at that same level. Vicar, back to you. Why do you think suddenly, more recently, there's been such a heavy emphasis on Halloween?
Oh, it's money. I think you just follow the money. Anything you can buy candy, and you can buy as much as you want. I think I heard recently that the average person spends about $100 for, the average American spends at least $100 for Halloween, whether it's costumes or candy, and then some. I mean, there's haunted houses and all these other things that someone can make a buck off of. So I think that's what is driving this is money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree. And they're starting earlier. It came out in like August this year.
Oh my gosh.
right.
Yeah.
Local stores were packing with August, end of July. They're like, let's go ahead and decorate for Halloween.
It's so true.
No, it's
Yeah.
too early.
Yeah, before we know it, we're going to have Christmas music coming out in August instead of waiting until later in the season.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a commercial aspect to the holidays. Any way you can make a buck, like we said, it's somebody's going to try and make a buck off of it. Are there deeper issues that are going on there? I mean, we talk about people associate a lot of Halloween with pop culture, a lot of the like the Harry Potter type of movies or events that may have been contributing to some of the popularity of Halloween as a major event. Matt and Season, has that been your experience as well? I know you've had some issues trying to get those influences out of your life and out of your home. What's your perspective on that?
We've noticed it a lot in entertainment. The entertainment industry, as soon as you turn on, nowadays, if you turn on any kind of streaming platform, you're automatically seeing some very scary advertisements and different shows that are out there. And some of it can get like a little demonic. And when you've got kids, it makes you not even want to turn on TV. I've even noticed it with some of the games that I do let my kid play on the device, like the Khan Academy, or I don't know, but they're all Halloween themed already, and it makes it really hard when you're trying to raise up a biblical household and Christian children, because there's a lot of magic and other things that are happening that it's really hard to talk to kids about, to say that there should be a warning label with this kind of stuff. It's not just nonsensical. There are people that believe in this, and it is dangerous and can very quickly and easily go down a slippery slope. So yeah, we battle it with the entertainment industry, and a variety of sectors.
I've got a pet peeve when it comes to sporting events, watching sports on television, and seeing horror movies and trailers that are just inappropriate for little eyes. So between that and the magic, we have a hard time sometimes with finding content to watch in our home. And then cleansing after the tarot thing, we decided to cleanse our home and cleanse it of entertainment that was satanic in nature. And we went through and cleansed books and CDs and movies. And we've done that 4 times now, because the first time we missed things, we were like, oh, let's hold on to. And then the second time it's like, okay, it's time to let that go. We're done.
Our society makes it so much fun and makes the witches fun, and the hats are pretty and sparkly and everything else. And we might not believe, there's people that don't believe that it's true, but there are people that believe that it is true, and they know what it means more so than some of the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Annetta, let's go over to you. Based on your experience, have you had issues trying to get those influences away from your family and out of your home?
Yes, because I was involved in stuff, I know how real it is. So like the Harry Potter, we keep out of our home. Like even, I don't even want them to go near it, because it actually teaches you how to do spells. And I'm, because so much darkness is going on, like with all the kids stuff. And so like even like Taylor Swift, and then, like I said, Harry Potter, and then all these things, they try to make witchcraft and all this magic seem cool. And so I'm always like telling my kids this stuff is real. Like, and they know now that I got the book out, they've seen some of the stuff or heard about some of the stuff, that it's like, this is an open door. So, I mean, what seems like is people try to make it seem innocent is actually an open door for the enemy to start coming in. And you start, like with me, it started with really little things. And I think even the way that we did celebrate Halloween was one of the open doors, but also just, the Ouija board, different things. They're like selling this stuff out in public, and they're like making it seem like it's a fun game for everybody. And it's like you're opening that door, and then if you keep going, that's when you start getting wrapped up in even the harder witchcraft. And you can see it on people that, like I said, some of the people are more celebrities. You can see that they've given themselves over to that witchcraft, and they're starting, they sell this to the kids, and we're like, we need to make people aware that this is real, and it can affect you, and it can bring you down, like they talked about, that slippery slope.
So a follow-up question: when people do dress up like witches, wizards, just for fun, are there people who might actually be involved in witchcraft or other activities who play along and try and fit into that crowd in order to make it more socially acceptable and maybe get their message across?
Yeah, they are definitely going in disguise to try to teach people and make people think that this is an okay thing. And that's the way Satan works. He tries to, it's like he takes things and tries to make it seem like it's pretty, it's nice, this is something fun. My husband and I were just talking about, like, at this, a few years ago, they had like the wands, and their kids were going out actually doing spells, and little 5-year-olds running around the store. And it's like, that's what he's trying to normalize it, and then just be like, oh, this is just some kind of fun game. But they're playing with fire when they start doing that, because that it's real. And so yeah, it's just people, I think the enemy just goes in, and the way he disguises it is by, he tries to make it seem like it's fun, and then makes it seem like, oh, this isn't really going to hurt you, this is just a game. And really, it's not a game, it's like for real. And if you look in some of those Harry Potter books, like I said, they're actual spells that they put in there. So people can do that, or they can look and try to find that stuff. And it's like, this is not a little game. This is actual stuff can happen when you do it.
Hmm. So Vicar Wenzlick, have you seen similar things in your experience where something small, something that seems to be no issue at all, maybe not necessarily witchcraft, but anything that people experience or do that starts small and then over time builds into something that becomes a major stumbling block to their faith or to their walk with God?
Well, sure. I mean, this isn't just Halloween. I mean, this is in every aspect of our life. When we make something bigger than Jesus, when the focus is taken off of him and something else becomes the thing, then you have a problem. And yeah, it always starts out small, little, and then you get doing it more and more, and it always seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger until before you know it, you're neck deep in this different way of living that's taking you farther and farther away from Christ. And yeah, Halloween is kind of today geared more to the demonic, and so that's very obvious. But you can have this in any season where we get drawn away from Christ because of something else, for whatever the reason.
So let's talk a little bit about trick-or-treating. You all mentioned whether or not when you were young you participated in that, but what about now? Do you allow your children to go trick-or-treating, or is that something that you try to avoid? Matt and Susan, let's go to you first.
So far, we have not done any trick-or-treating. We've even been a little leery of the trunk-or-treating, but it's in researching the history of it, the trick-or-treating was about spirits and dealing with spirits and the candy and the Catholic religion did a different sort of take on it with All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day coming up, and but it still has its basis in the pagan traditions of tricking and dealing with spirits, and so we really, we haven't done that. We're still trying to figure out how we work that out for our family as our kids get older. But
we don't have to worry about handing out candies where we live right now. But we were reading something interesting today, talking about giving out blessing bags, and starting to infiltrate this holiday as Christians. Instead of pulling ourselves and removing ourselves completely, let's go into the war zone. Let's put on that armor of God. Let's pray for the Holy Spirit, and let's take the fight to them and ask them if we can pray for them when they're handing out or when they're coming to get candies, and giving out blessing bags, and dressing up and as instead of monsters and demons and the devil, dressing up in good characters to try and take over that battlefield, because it is a battlefield.
Go be David fighting Goliath. Let's figure out another way that Christians can make a stand in this field, because we don't want it to be necessarily taken over because we're too afraid to be in this battle. But at the same time, we're still navigating that as to how we let our kids know what's really going on at the same time, because it's not all the fun and games that it's been made out to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that idea of handing out the little bags. That's great. Where I grew up, we often had to tell a joke in order to get our treat. So we'd go and knock on a door, and the person who opened the door would say, "Well, what's your joke?" And so if you didn't have a joke to tell them, then you didn't get your treat. It's just something that I've heard it was only regional for us, and not everybody does that. Annetta, let's go over to you. Do you have any traditions that you do on Halloween with your family? Do you let the kids trick or treat?
We've never gotten into trick or treating, but we used to have something called the Holy Ghost Wiener Roast. It's a really long word, but it was at our church, and it was really focused on the community, bringing everybody together. They had like bounce houses, and then like Christian music, and then just everything was really uplifting. And so it gave the community something to do versus doing the normal trick-or-treating or participating in some of the bad stuff. So that was something my kids have done for years. My church is not doing that anymore right now, but we go to another place where they do kind of like a festival thing where they make everything about Jesus and about having fun with like games and stuff like that. Because I had the same problem. Like, I have a lot of kids, and so just staying at home, turning off the light, nobody's here, we're not going to do anything, has always been really hard for us, because we want to do something to, like they were talking about, doing something to combat the darkness and not just hide away. But I know like all the stuff with Halloween itself is bad, but then how can we as Christians go in and bring light and not just, I'm going to, turn the light off and hide in my house and not participate at all. So that's something that we did for a long time.
I think that's why we're at where we are with the country as a country, because too many Christians, myself included, have been on the sidelines for too long.
Yeah.
So I think there is a tendency for Christians to stay on the sidelines, like you said, when things start going in a direction that we don't like. But also, I think in the last month or so, since the killing of Charlie Kirk, there's been more and more Christians who have stepped forward and said, no, we are not going to just sit by and watch these things happen. We are going to put on the armor and boldly march forward with our message, and we won't stay silent. Vicar Wenzlick, how can Christians get the courage and the strength to fight that fight when the fight comes to us?
Well, it's definitely go to Christ in prayer. I mean, there's, prayer is at the center of all this, and, pray for the strength. I mean, some really good things have been said here. We want to lean more into this, right? We don't want to just, withdraw, but we know the enemy is going to come at us, right? We're preparing for battle, and there will be a battle. I mean, we do these things. Maybe we have success. Well, then maybe we meet some resistance. And so, we try these things. We have these different ways of celebrating and doing activities for this holiday that is more Christ leaning and Christ focused. And, we just we may get some resistance in that, but keep doing it. And you never know how many more will follow and join. I mean, the joke thing, I mean, just think if more communities did that, right? In the blessing bags, get the word out, and, it could be a spark that lights a fire. And before you know it, more and more people are doing this, and you don't even realize it. So yeah, just, we are asked to just keep witnessing, right? We let the Holy Spirit does the work. We just go out there and do it.
We agree. That's one of the reasons why we created our production company to take on Hollywood, to take on the major networks and produce family-friendly, faith-based content. And we like to say we're armored up. We're armored up and ready to serve, which there's a video, I think, that kind of plays along with everything we're talking about, with suiting up for Halloween and putting on the armor of God in the entertainment industry.
Wow, that's awesome. Matt and Season, can you tell us a little bit more about Almighty Wings Productions?
That video makes me smile. Season put that together with our good friend Grok, and I love it. So we have a video production company, and our mission is to be salt and light in the world of visual entertainment. And our goal is to produce family-friendly, faith-based content, because we keep talking to family after family after family, and they're fed up with what Hollywood's producing. They're fed up with the magic. They're fed up with the horror and the gore and the inappropriate content, and they're hungry for something different. And so we would be honored to fill that need with God's blessing.
Annetta, can you tell us a little bit more about FTF Ministries?
Yeah, it started with writing my book, which is right here. I wrote, God told me to write this book about my story of coming out of witchcraft, the occult, and drug addiction. And so after I wrote this book, God gave me that name. It's called From the Flames Ministries. And it's about helping people to actually God pulling people out of the flames, which can be whatever darkness they're in, whether it's addiction, witchcraft, any of that stuff. And so now I go around sharing at conferences or to youth groups, and I address that just head on about the witchcraft, even with teenagers, because it's so prevalent in that generation. So he's just giving me just open doors to start sharing that with other people.
Yeah, it seems like when I'm on the road almost every day, I see a vehicle that has stickers on it, things on the window that have phases of the moon. They have different symbols or things that I look at and I think, okay, I think I know what this person is all about, and I'm not sure I'm really on board with that. Does it seem like that type of thing is becoming more prevalent now?
Oh, definitely. When I was involved in witchcraft and the occult stuff, it wasn't as popular as it is now. But like I said, I think it's a lot of it. A lot of it is celebrities and people are pushing it on the kids and then making it seem like it's this cool thing. Like it's so trendy to be, to be a warlock and to be a witch and be a white witch. And this, because they say the white witch is a good witch and the black witch, over here, the black magic is bad. And so they try to, it's how, like I said, it's how Satan does. He tries to take things and make it seem really nice and pretty and something they would like. And so I think even in the last few years, you've seen people just really push witchcraft out there. The things that you see in the store are so like the enemy's not hiding anymore. He's like putting it full-fledged out there, but he got people kind of numb to it. Like he was normalizing it for a long time, for the last, several years, to where now people aren't surprised. You can go in the store and you're like, oh, of course there's a Ouija board. Of course there's this. Of course there's magic. And so, so it's that whole thing of like the enemy normalizing stuff. And so I want to get out there and say, hey, this isn't normal. This isn't how you were designed to be. God doesn't want you to be involved in this because this is not who God is, and he doesn't want a mixture. As people try to mix things and be like, hey, we can put a little bit of this little crystal over here, and he's like, I'm a pure God. I want to be the only one that is in your life. I'm the only one true God. God's a jealous God, so he doesn't want there to be a competition for his, for who he is. And so anyway, I started preaching. I'm sorry.
I love it. Keep going. Sorry.
That's all right.
Well, they made it easy with the crystals and the stones, and you start off light and you get into just the energy healing, and it's just
Those
look at
open
the
doors.
moon, and you start off at those slow parts, and then you realize before long you realize you're no longer on the narrow path, you're on the much more broad path, and there's a lot more danger there. Like you said, the devil's really good at disguising himself and making things seem a lot more fun than what they truly end up being.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do as Christians when we see somebody or encounter someone who is going down that path? How do we start that conversation? What can we say to them? Are there ways to approach that type of a situation? What can we do?
I think, well, if I look at what actually brought me into witchcraft, it was rejection. It was looking for something else to fill my heart. And so, I mean, it started with drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that. So I think dealing with the root of what people are struggling with, because if you just come straight at them, like bulldozing, like, hey, get away from, that dark thing, what you're doing is you're like saying, hey, I know it's like something that they're trying to find their identity, their comfort, all that stuff. So it has to be a point where you say, I have something that actually will help you. And you come at it with love and you come at it with grace, because when you're in witchcraft, you're in serious rebellion. And so anybody that comes at you hard, you're going to resist it more. And so what cracks that is love and grace, and saying there's something even better than what you're doing, and asking them, is this working for you? And I will guarantee you they will say it's not. Because when I opened this door, I became suicidal, depressed, anxious. It didn't produce any good fruit. And so getting to the root and going, hey, is this working for you? And if they can honestly say to you, like, no, it's not, and say, well, do you want to try something that will actually work? And then you could start bringing the gospel in. But doing it with grace and love is you're going to find that most Satanists, most people that are involved in the cult, they will melt when you bring unconditional love to them. That's what happened with me, and that's what happened with a lot of these super high Satanists. There's one guy that's out there that I don't know if y'all seen him, but he has like this tattoo on his forehead. Somebody gave him a hug. And then he had this revelation of God's love, and it broke him. It's this big guy that you would be scared of seeing down the road. But God was like, I love you and I see you. And when he got that revelation, he's like, this other stuff is not for me. And this is not something that loves me. This, whatever this is, does not love me, but God loves me. And so that's when he surrendered his life over to Jesus, is that unconditional love.
We've seen a few of those stories with that same narrative, that someone came up and just gave me a hug, and they just wouldn't let go. It was the best love hug they've ever gotten, and it changed their life.
True Christ love. Like that, it makes. Sometimes it takes a while. You never know when that interaction is going to be the one that really makes an impact. But
it's so important to not give up either, and just and keep at it and persist to run the race that we are given, and just never give up on these people. So let's change gears a little bit, and let's talk about some good memories or good experiences that we've had. Obviously, there can be a lot of danger involved in celebrating Halloween, but when people get together as families, it can be uplifting for their faith as well when viewed through the right lens. Vicar Wenzlick, do you have any experiences you'd like to share of an uplifting event from Halloween or from a fall event?
Well, we turned Halloween into a competition. So our families are real close, and so we all keep track of how many trick-or-treaters we get. And I think the year we won was a pretty good year. We had a lot of kiddos show up, and it was a lot of fun. So I guess that was and of course, there's no prize. It's just a pride thing, but again, it's the joy of getting, it's the joy of community and building a community and getting to know your neighbors. And so, over the years when I've moved to different neighborhoods and just getting to know people that way, to me, that's where I see the joy of Halloween and where it could be something that leads us to Christ,
Matt and Season, over to you. I don't know if you have any fond memories of Halloween you'd like to share, but anything from getting together with family that would encourage our viewers or other people.
Most of my memories actually aren't that great. I did haunted houses and stuff like that as a kid. And yeah,
I was never a fan.
As an adult, as I said, I partied, drank, and none of that ever turned out well for me. I think the hope that I have is in this journey, in this fight that we've learned about and wanted to participate in, is we've actually been inspired with a concept to bring to the battlefield, basically. Hopefully in the next year or two, we'll be able to talk more about that, but we want to make a difference. We want to make sure that we're here for God, and he knows that we're here for him. We're going to be praying, and we want to encourage other Christians to also come together to, be a light on Halloween night and all throughout the year, that we have that opportunity. We have that ability. We are not given a spirit of fear, but we can go boldly out here, and we are lucky that, in this day and age, it really seems scary, but at the same time, there are more Christians that are starting to become aware, that want to actually do good. They want to do better for our children and for the future generations. And it's no longer okay to just be on the sidelines, or to be the white witch, or to think that, oh, this is okay to dabble a little bit here and there. We're realizing that there are lines that we should not cross.
Because we open ourselves up.
Yeah.
You never really know what you're opening yourself up to. It's some of that's above my pay grade, But I know it's real. I've seen enough material. I've read the Bible, and there's some definite warnings there on what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I really like what you said. Be a light on Halloween night. I like that. We might be able to make use of that. Annetta, over to you. Do you have any great memories that you'd like to share?
I think with my own kids, whenever we had the Holy Ghost wiener roast, it's still fun to say. We like would do black and white pictures. Like they had a whole photo booth, and I still have that picture of us all dressed up. Like we put on the hats and like put the outfits on, and then they had like all these like cool activities for them to do. And so we had a lot of fun. We were laughing a lot, and like I said, the whole church would come together, and they would invite people from the community to come out. And so I have a lot of good memories of that church event.
Well, that's Annetta Caldwell of FTF Ministries. We've had Matt and Susan Wilmoth of Almighty Wings Productions and Vicar Craig Wenzlick of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. We've had all of your contact information on the screen so that people know how to reach out and get in contact with you if they have any questions. Thank you all for joining us tonight for our Halloween special. That's it for this special edition of DFE News. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, and engage with us so that YouTube and all the socials push it out to more viewers. If you're interested in becoming a DFE sponsor, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Thanks for watching DFE News. News done right. See you next time.